We talked about it in the later. The fissures and the gray matter and white matter, the different parts. The slide of the spinal cord, guys, is a very big one. Even with the lowest magnification, you cannot see all of the structures at the same time. That's why we use in the test also, we use the dissection microscope that we have over there. That's the dissection microscope. I put the slide over there under that microscope for you. So under that microscope, you can see all the structures at the same time. But in the usual microscope, the light microscopes that we have, you cannot see all the pictures at the same time. In the test, I will put them like those for you. So at the same time, you can see everything, and it will be much easier to identify. So you guys know that spinal cord consists of the gray matter. This is the gray matter of your spinal cord, as you can see, and this is the white matter. You guys know that parts of the gray matter are connected together by this structure here, which is called gray carnation, right? Huh?
Was it gray carnation?
Gray carnation. And then you have the opening here, which is called central. And you guys know that the gray matter consists of 3 horns, right? To make sure which one is the posterior, which one is the anterior axis, you have to know that the deep groove that you have here is called what? Anterior fissure. Median fissure. The other one here, which is much thinner and shallower, is called posterior median sulcus. So, the part of the gray matter, which is just next to the anterior median fissure, is called what? Anterior gray horn. Anterior gray horn. The part of it just next to the posterior median sulcus is called posterior gray horn. The part between is called
lateral.
The same story for the white matter. The part of the white matter, which is next to the posterior median sulcus, is posterior white color. The part here is anterior white color, and finally in the middle we have lateral. So in the slide of the spinal cord, you have to identify the horns, posterior, lateral, and anterior horn, the gray commissioner, the central canal, and anterior, posterior, and lateral white color. These are the structures you are responsible for. So make sure that you look at the other slide over there, and make sure that you can find all of these parts in that slide. And this is the model of the spinal cord that we have here, the same story. Huh? So the fissure, the groove that you have here is called, I give you, what is this called? If I'm sick, it doesn't mean that I won't give you too much.
That's the anterior median fissure.
Very good. Anterior median fissure. They say this is the posterior median sulcus. Very good. So this is the
Anterior gray horn.
How do you know that this is anterior gray? Because
Because of the fissure.
this is the
Posterior.
this is the
Lateral.
same story here. Anterior, posterior, lateral gray horn. What you have in between is called
Gray
commission. The dark, the canal here actually is what?
The central canal.
All right. So here, this white part is called.
White
How do you know that this is the posterior one?
because of the circus.
This is the.
Anterior.
This is the
Lateral.
lateral white. So easy, huh? So guys, you guys know that the spinal nerve. This is your spinal nerve, right? How many spinal nerves do you have?
31.
Okay. The spinal nerves are connected to the spinal cord by 2 roots. Do you remember these roots? This root is called
Anterior.
posterior, alpha, y posterior.
Oh,
It's a
circus.
This is the
anterior.
The other two alpha is that in the posterior root you have the ganglion. This ganglion is called posterior root ganglion. Do you remember I told you that in the anterior root, what kind of the nerves do you have? Remember? You have the motor neurons. In the posterior root, you have the sensory. To remember, posterior has sensory. Always have S. So in the posterior root, you have the sensory nerves. In the anterior root, you have the motor nerves. So these are the sensory nerves. These are the motor nerves. The same here. These are the sensory nerves. Motor nerves. These are the sensory nerves. Remember that the posterior root ganglion is the collection of the cell bodies of the neurons. So the cell body of these neurons is located here of sensory neurons. So this is the place of the collection of the cell bodies of the sensory neurons. Make sense? Do you have any problem with the roots? So posterior root with the posterior root ganglion, anterior root. In posterior root you have sensory neurons. In anterior root you have motor. Over here you have the skeleton and vertebral column. It just wants to show you the spinal nerves which come out from the spinal cord. There's nothing important there. Just know that all of those nerves in yellow which come out from the vertebral column are spinal nerves. Any problem? That's all for tonight. Spinal cord. Just label the pictures that you have about the spinal cord. Make sure that you can find all of this structure in this slide.